Over the course of the last week, we've got new information on how the George Zimmerman Trayvon Martin case is going to proceed. Now, you already know at this point from a few days ago that the jury is going to be comprised entirely of females, which is interesting. I'll speculate a bit about that later on in the video, but we have some additional information as well. The most important news about the Trayvon Martin case is that they are not going to allow the audio files to be played for the jury. Let me quote the news here from the New York Times. In an order released on Saturday, the judge in the case, Deborah S. Nelson, excluded the testimony. She said the science supporting the experts' analyses is not as widely accepted at this time as the more established methods relied on by defense witnesses who said it was impossible to conclude whose voice it was. Under the law, experts' opinions based on technology or a scientific technique can be admitted as evidence only if that technique is generally accepted in their field. The defense lawyers successfully argued that evidence from the prosecution's audio experts did not meet that standard. Now, do you think that it was scientific rigor that caused them to want to deny this as evidence? No, it maybe had something to do with the fact that one of the experts in this case said that it was definitely not Zimmerman who was yelling for help, begging for his life on the tape, and the other said that it's almost surely Trayvon Martin. So in both of those cases, it would severely hurt George Zimmerman if those tapes got out. Now, they will not be played. I think that that's an extreme injustice. Now, look, I'm not an expert on the analyses of these audio files, but I think that if there's no experts saying that they're in question, and the experts who actually looked into them say that it's clear that it was Trayvon Martin, that would seem to be relevant to the case, since he is at one point begging for his life, which sort of makes sense considering he's the guy who did not go prowling around the neighborhood looking for trouble, and he didn't have a gun. But they're not going to be able to use that. In addition, a bit of a mixed bag here on the other sorts of things that will be allowed and will not be allowed. In another ruling issued Friday, Judge Nelson turned down the defense's request that the state not use the terms wannabe cop and vigilante in opening statements. I think that makes sense. He is a textbook vigilante. He was wandering around looking for crime, packing heat. Seems like a wannabe cop, since he did try to become a cop and was rejected. He's literally a wannabe cop, and he's also exactly a vigilante, except not cool like Batman or anything like that. She also said that the state could say profiling, but not racial profiling. And now that obviously is very much in George Zimmerman's, to his advantage there. Now, it's clear when he was both talking to the police on the tape and what experts have said about his previous, the people that he had identified and said were trouble, they all tended, coincidentally, to be black males. So clearly he was actually engaging in racial profiling, not just profiling. I guess it's a compromise in some way. But it's interesting, isn't it, how these trials play out. That you have the gun owners on the jury, which I suppose with the amount of the population that owns guns, I guess demographically that's just going to happen. The fact that they're all women, I don't know if that's going to help Zimmerman, if it's going to hurt Zimmerman. There's conspiracy theories on both sides about that. I don't personally have a strong opinion, but I love the language. You can use this term, you can't use this term. You can say profiling, but not racial profiling. You can't say he shot Trayvon Martin. You can only say that he added ventilation to Trayvon Martin's chest. You can talk about the Skittles, but you have to refer to them as fruit-flavored shrapnel. All sorts of issues like that. It's ridiculous that it seems so clear what happened here. Now, look, perhaps in some crazy sense, George Zimmerman did feel at some point during the actual physical altercation that his life was in jeopardy. Let's play devil's advocate and say that that's true. What bothers me so much about the people that have come out defending George Zimmerman is that there is no doubt whatsoever that a grave injustice has happened, that an innocent died who did not need to die, that the world would be better off if George Zimmerman had simply not gone out of his house at that point, if he had not accosted, if he had not chased, if he had not tracked down and eventually shot Trayvon Martin. I don't think any rational person can doubt that the world would be better off in that case, since Trayvon Martin was doing nothing wrong. I believe it was George Zimmerman's brother, possibly his father, who was not even willing to say that, who would not say that the world would be better off if he'd stayed home. I think that that's ridiculous. Now look, there's going to be more rulings like this before the trial is done about what can and cannot be admissible as evidence. And we don't know at this point what's going to happen. Is George Zimmerman actually going to end up in jail for what he did? We don't know. We will continue to cover it. But I hope for Trayvon Martin's family that there is at least some justice in this.